Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Pops Reviews again, and I'm back at you with another. This is a board game review, and this is a review on a game that I actually kickstarted, I believe, back in 2015, and it's called Dragon Tides. And as you can see, it has the world's most famous martial artist on it, Bruce Lee. This is a official game licensed with the Bruce Lee license, as well as his son Brandon Lee, and as you can see, there's a couple other characters that are in the picture there with them. So yeah, this is a game. It's a 2 to 5 player game, and they do have solo rules for this. It doesn't come in the box, but you have to do some searching on Board Game Geek, I believe, for it. This is a game that, like I said, I kickstarted back in 2015, and it's a controversial game, and we'll talk more about it. And let me open up the box and show you what you get with this, and I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, so with this Dragon Tides game, you get you have the rule book here. This is the book here, the rule book. So the rule book, it's this rule book actually too. It's all right, but it's not giving you like good rules on some like the character descriptions and that. Some things you have to do a little bit of searching for through Board Game Geek, so it's not really it's not the best rule book. Some I believe misspelling mistakes and whatnot. Yeah, I mean you get the gist of it in it, but there's little things in here that need answering. So this is your rule book here that you have. It comes with the game. Then you also have 2 movie scenarios. This one here is called Shakedown in Little China. And then you also have Glitter Bang, which is this one here. And what these act like here, you play these out as a movie, and then it tells you like if the good guys win, which I believe are the dragons in this game, then you would go to a certain scene, and if the bad guys win, which are the tigers, then you would go to a different scene. And so it's kind of a pick a path kind of type game here. And then with each stage, it kind of show you where all the characters go, where you would put the characters on the boards. So so you only get two movie books in the game, as well as the rule book. And I'll be back at you again with the rest of the components. Okay, so here you see a lot of the components of the game. Now you'll get tokens here that have the green tokens are for your board trackers for energy. Then you have these +1 plus grapples, so they kind of give you a reminder of if your guy gets a bonus. So you have different tokens here. If you you get some doors. Again, some more, you have alerts. I punched out a few of these, obviously. I put them in plastic bags, some of these, and then you have different tokens for these guys here. Now, what's interesting with these tokens, so as you can see here, say Goliath, his art is different on these tokens to compare to his actual card art. So if we look at Goliath's card art, so you'll see they had to make some alterations here. So they did it for the card. They did it for the card here and the player board, but they actually forgot to do it for these little tokens. So if you're a martial arts film, if you love martial arts films, you'll probably recognize who Goliath is supposed to be. And obviously Brandon, and then Tiger, you know who Tiger is, aka Donnie Yen, and then Goliath, we'll just say who he is, Bolo from Bloodsport. And then, yeah, so you have different tokens that you'll have for the game. Punch boards of energy and that. And, yeah, so like I said, I just ended up putting mine in Ziplocs to keep the storage here once I punch them out of the punch boards. I know some people like to put them back into the punch boards, but I just kept them in Ziplocs here. Ziploc for all my stuff here. So you get there's different items and that you can see through the bag here. There's like turkey and that you place on the board that give you bonuses, and then you'll get these cards here. So this is for the bad guys. This is his tracker. So he keeps the rounds, the different henchmen he's controlling, and then the super meter. So, well, the super meter, we'll get into it a little more. I'll explain things a little more, and then you have each player will get a character card. So here's the man, Bruce Lee. Sorry for the glare, but it'll give you different values of. There's three ways to do an attack in this game. There's strike, throw, grapple, and it tells you his movement on the board. So he moves 3, and then it gives you little cues of when to do things like lights, place to exchange a signature move. So you place one of his cards in the signature move slot, and then camera is when you will do your movement. Then action, you play your card, you attack, interact with the object, or you could pass. And then health, he has each player has 7 health. And then his super meter takes like 4 times to win a face off to build his meter. And then he's able to do like this big attack here, which is called don't think, feel, which is activate during the showdown phase. And then after revealing maneuvers, you may change your showdown. So he's kind of like he's doing his kind of technique of don't think, feel. So he's just reacting to the opponent's what he's doing for his maneuver. So you have Bruce and you have Brandon. So as you can see, Brandon's was a little different to Bruce. As you can see, side by side comparison, Brandon on the strikes is weaker. Bruce is going to roll 3 dice as opposed to Brandon's 2. They both do equal throws of 3 dice. And then grapple, Brandon's a better grappler. He will roll 4 dice to Bruce's 3. And then Brandon, as you can see at his card, his super, they all have 7 health, and then his super takes 1 less than Bruce's. You have to win showdown, I guess twice or 3 times or whatever, and then he does officer sidearm, which is you have a reach of 4, which is pretty cool. That's a really good one because then he's attacking from 4 spaces away. So each character, they all have their different stats. Here's Victoria's, and then you have Luke Elba. So in this game too, like you'll take 4 characters, or you could take 3, depending on how many players you have, and it ramps up and down depending on how many players you have. But ideally, the game is made for 4 characters against one character that controls all the bad guys on the board. Here you see Tran Wong, aka Jet Li. And so in this game, the 4 players will go against the one guy controlling all the bad guys. And then they will try and, the bad guys have a certain mission, whether it's to try and take out one of the good guys, or they got to do something with the objectives, maybe try and get it onto a truck, or whatever the case is. And then the dragons, the good guys, are trying to stop them from achieving that through their goal, depending on the movie. And you could play missions as one-off missions if you don't have time to play through a whole booklet, and games usually take about maybe 25 minutes, half an hour, that type of thing, depending on the mission. So it's not too bad to go through a booklet. You can go through it probably within a couple hours, which isn't too bad for a game. Maybe a little less than that even. And so you play through, and if the good guys win, they go to a certain scenario, a certain scene. And then if the bad guys win, they get a certain scene. And then in that scene, you'll have buffs of, like, if the bad guys get an extra guy, or in the mission, or maybe they'll start off with a certain life. It depends on what happens during the mission of your game. As well, before the game starts, you'll choose a boss. So the bad guys get to choose a boss, and anybody in this game could be a boss. You could even have Bruce Lee as the bad guy in the movie if you want, but I guess that wouldn't be too thematic because obviously Bruce is always the good guy. But you could have him as a bad guy, and then you would choose also a sub-boss of someone who Bruce's or whoever the bad guy is, his under guy, his sub-boss. And then, during the movie, the sub-boss might come out before the boss. And so it makes the game, it makes the game a little harder when you have the sub-boss in, or the boss, then they fight for the good guys. It's a little harder to take down. So here you can see there's Ivan Castle, based off of Dolph Lundgren, and then we talked about Goliath, and obviously he's Bolo from Bloodsport and Chinese Hercules. So each guy has a character card, and then each player will be given 3 cards. So you have your strike, and then strike, it says beats grapple, and then you have your throw beats strike, and then you have your grapple beats throw. So it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors system where each player will have those 3 cards in their hand, and then when you're fighting the guy on the board, you will place one of these cards face down, and the other player will place it face down. You're picking between the 3 cards, and then you'll reveal. So if I had the 2 cards here, like this here, one player was one card, the other was the other, and you turn them over. I played throw, I played grapple. So you throw beats strike, but grapple beats throw. So this guy here would be awarded 2 dice, which are these here. Now it comes with 10 dice, and so this guy would get his 10 dice, or his 2 dice for winning the showdown. That would be the showdown here when you play this part here. And then, so if this was Goliath, and he played the grapple, so he would have 4 grapple dice, plus he won the showdown, so he'd gain 6 dice to roll. Okay, so against, let's say, so this is Goliath, and let's say he's against Ivan Castle here, who's just readily available. So Ivan here is rolling 3 dice for his throw, and that's all he'd be rolling, unless the character who's attacking, they also have a move step. So I'll show it to you in the miniatures when I put them on the board. But so this is pretty much how combat goes here, where you would choose your maneuver, and then you have your ratings, and then if you win the showdown, you gain 2 extra bonus dice, and then as well, for winning the showdown, you would move up on your super, getting you closer to do your super move in the game. So let's talk about the dice for a second while the dice are out. So in this game, you have your dice here to roll in combat. So you have a double fist here, so that's 2 successful attacks. This one here is a successful attack and a shield blocking against a counterattack. Then you have 2 shields defending, blocking an incoming attacks. You have 1 big fist for 1 success, and then you have actually 2 blanks on this dice, which is we're going to talk about the blanks in a sec too as well at the end. So you roll your dice here. So let's say this guy on the right was the initial attacker. Maybe it's better if I show you with miniatures on the board here, and it'll probably make a little more sense. So let me just get a board out here, and I'll show you the miniatures for this game too. While I'll bring them out here. So here we have the master, and now they come unpainted as well. But this is my paint jobs on these guys. So here's the Master Bruce. I painted him in his Game of Death yellow pants, and then he has like a yin yang symbol on his base. So I thought the bases were kind of cool for this game, because they came. You didn't have to do anything for the base. They just came like ready made. So all you have to do is just do your paint job on them. You don't have to like put stuff on them. So this is my paint job of the Master Bruce. Then we have his son Brandon. There's Brandon. He comes in a cop uniform. And in his base there, he's kind of like on a stone brick ground with a grater behind him. That was my paint job, Brandon. This is one of the games, one of my first games that I painted all the guys for. One of my first completed games that I had done was a paint job is actually this game, Dragon Tide. So back in 2015, I guess 2016. Here's Mila Djokovic. So she's kind of based after the girl from Resident Evil. Resident Evil there, Mila Djokovic, I believe her name is. What's her name on the official cards here? Victoria Jovovich. Yeah, but she's kind of based, she's apparently based after someone that they knew in their office, and then obviously the one from Resident Evil there. This is my paint job. She wasn't actually one of the greatest ones to paint in the set because her face was kind of plainish. But did my best to keep her thematic to her. Sorry for the view. Trying to keep her there we go. So trying to keep her thematic to how she was in the game. And then next guy here, Luke Elba. We could focus in. No, not getting too good of a focus here. And he has a kind of a desert stone ground feel to his base. A little better, so you can see his paint job a little better. Alright. Camera doesn't want to cooperate with me today. And then I'll show you the other guys here. So then I have Goliath, which is Bull. And then, so he's kind of themed after his Bloodsport look. There we go. And he has a kind of a cement blocks ground. And then, as you can see on his leg here, I kind of painted it. He doesn't actually have this band on his leg, but I kind of painted it after his Bloodsport victory over Jackson in Bloodsport. So if you guys have ever watched Bloodsport, that's what I painted him. Painted it as. So that's Bolo or Goliath in the game. Then you have Dolph Lundgren, aka Ivan. You can see here, and then he has money on the ground and on a indoor floor of some sort. Yeah, camera just not, there we go. It's not wanting to cooperate with me, and then he's got some bullets on the ground. This is back, and he's got his big knife that he carries around. So that's his figure. And then we have Donnie Yen. There we go. There we go. Yeah, sorry guys, camera just not wanting to cooperate here today with the focusing. Yeah, it's a nice logo on his back. So painting these guys weren't too bad. They felt pretty good to paint. Like I said, just that Mila Jovovich character wasn't really the best character to paint. And then here's the last one out of the 8. It's like the Jet Li character, Tran Wong. I believe his name is in the game. There we go. And his logo. So, very nice guys to paint. I really was happy with the miniatures themselves, just the one miniature, like I said. So, it's getting back to attacking here. So here's like the board. So you'll have, let's say we'll keep it simple here with what I had earlier. So you'll have Goliath versus Ivan. So they'll roll their dice. Now Goliath had the better of the dice, so he is initiator. So he'll roll his dice. And look at this here. Okay, so he's looking for punches for his attack. So he has right now 4. He's doing 4 damage right now to Ivan. Goliath is doing that, and these are blanks that he rolled, so these just go away. Now Ivan, he has 3 dice, so he'll roll these 3, and he rolled blanks. So Ivan, what would happen here? So it was a grapple. So Ivan or Goliath would be doing 1 damage of grapple to Ivan, and then he would grapple him for each success, I believe it is. It would be 4 So he'd be minus, I believe he'd be minus 1 or 2, I believe. Anyways, I'd have to look it up, but his stats would go down, so at least by 1 for sure. So he would, so now instead of him getting his 3 for his throw, he would be down to 2, let's say. He might be down more depending on the success here. It's been a little while since I played the rules of this game here, but for sure he'd be down, so his stats would go down. So you put like a -1 token to let him know that his stats have gone down, and that's for until his turn is ended. Now, like I said, there's also strike and there's throw. So the strike, if this was a strike that he had landed, then he'd be doing 4 damage for sure. That would go straight through because Ivan didn't roll any blocks here to block it. So then Ivan would be down. He'd be down 4 health, so he'd be left with 3. Now, in this game, let's say, for instance, now we'll just change the dice here. So let's say this was rolled here. So let's say Goliath rolled a 1 punch. And then let's say Ivan rolled this here. So now what would happen is his punch would be blocked by this shield. So now he would be doing no damage to him. And then Ivan has a fist here. So now he'd be able to counterattack on Goliath. So now Ivan would be doing a throw. So he would be doing 1 point of damage on Goliath because he got a successful throw in, and then he'd be able to throw him at least 1 space away. So if there's like if this, let's just say there's a blocking object, he could throw him into that object, and boom, he'd take maybe, he would, well, you can't land, first off, you can't land on objects in this game, but he could throw them away. And let's say there was somebody else in the picture here, let's say Bruce was there, then, you know, if they're buddies, then Bruce could start laying him to beats now because he threw him into where Bruce is. Okay, so there's little intricate rules about with this game. I haven't played this in a little while, but this is pretty much the overview, you know, of how the rules pretty much kind of go. And then you have your cards here. So let's say you have Bruce's cards. Let's just look. So here's each character has 6 cards. So in the game, I believe you pick 3 if you're just playing three out of the 6 cards. If you're just playing a regular kind of arcade beat 'em up kind of version, and then if in the story you'll start with 3, and then you will get to earn different cards that are like your signature moves kind of thing. So as you can see, here's Bruce Lee's improvisation. So it tells you reveal before action. So before you do your action, you roll 2 dice when interacting. So an action, you know, you could have, let's say like a door. There might be a door on the map, and you have to interact with it, and then you'd have to roll a certain amount of dice, and then the door has a certain amount of defense. So then you have to roll to successes to try and open the door's defense. If that makes any sense to you guys, but that's how it goes. So if the door had rolled 2 dice and then rolled a shield, and then you rolled say 3 of these, the door would only block 1, and then you get 2 through, so then you'd be able to open the door. So and it goes through the scenarios like that. And another thing with this game too is that it comes with, now the enemies, you have your main enemies and heroes here in the game, but then you also have what the game came with is a bunch of pogs here for the enemies, like the regular enemy guys. So I'm just trying to get to the bag here. Just give me 1 sec. Trying to do everything with one hand. I'll just pause it for a sec while I get this out. Okay, so here's what the game came with. And it came with a bunch of these pog guys that are enemies. Okay, these are your regular henchmen, right? So, so for this game, you know, let's say the scenario will tell you what type of henchmen they are, whether they roll. All of them have just set figures throughout, or set numbers throughout. So let's just say these guys are like worth 2. So they do 2 strike, 2 throw, 2 grapple, move 2. Okay, and then if you had another scenario, they might be worth 3, and then just 3 across the board: 3 strike, 3 throw, 3 grapple, 3 move. and then they only have 2 life. So if you only did 1 damage to this guy, he'd flip over. So then you know he's injured, and then after once you did another damage to him, then he'd be off the board. Excuse me. Then there's different types of objects you could interact with on the board that give you benefits, buff ups, and that. And also, like we're getting back to the cards. Each character has 6 cards. So here's another card for Bruce. Here's his 1-inch punch. So reveal before the showdown. So that's before you reveal your throw, your grapple, your strike, and then he would have strike +1, ignore penalties from grapple tokens. So he would get an extra dice if he was doing a strike. So so that would help him out, and then he would ignore the penalties from grapple tokens if he had any on him. So, and then he has different cards, Patience is a Virtue, and you would pick the 3 best cards that would help you in your game, and then if you're, like I said, if you're playing a scenario, then you would go and add another card, and then if you win a scenario, you'd add another card if it tells you to. So each player has 6 different signature moves that they could reveal at different times when they're choosing. And yes, other than that, these are the main components. It comes with different sceneries, and they're both double-sided. So here you get like a street market type of scene, and then here's like a garden type of scene, and this is a street scene here. So you get how many of these do you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're both double-sided maps. So yeah, you're getting a little bit, you're getting a little bit here. Like you're getting some decent replayability as far as the maps would go. But like I said, there's only 2 movie books. So once you go through those 2 movie books, then you're kind of, what do I do now with the game? Because once you roll through the 2 movies, that's it, really. You'd have to decide on, what you want to do. If you want to make up maybe your own scenarios and that. And really, no one really has for this game. It's kind of, like I said, there's a bit of history with this game, and I'm going to go into that right now with my final thoughts here. So just give me a sec, and we'll talk about final thoughts. Okay, so my final thoughts of Street Master, or it's not even Street Master, Dragon Tides. Sorry guys, Dragon Tides, Bruce Lee's game. So again, this was a game I backed on Kickstarter back in 2015, and I was one of the lucky ones to receive my core box. Okay, this is the core box, this is the core game. Now, there's other people in North America that got theirs and that, but people in Europe that backed this game, and maybe Australia, I'm not too sure, did not get their games. Okay, so there was a lot of the Artistic Justice Games. The guy that had this here, he squandered his money, didn't have the right money for the production and the delivery and all that type of stuff. There were supposed to be extras that came in this game. We were supposed to get other fighters, obviously, there was a Jackie Chan and a Chuck Norris and a Jean-Claude Van Damme type characters in the game, and we didn't get any of those. It just fell through. There was another game that he did too as well. That was a Fairy Tale Battle Royal. That fell through as well. And it's been years and we haven't got anything. So he kind of fell through. His name was Alex Lim. That was the guy running Artistic Justice Games. So he went under. We haven't heard anything from him. And it's a shame because, this is a Bruce Lee IP game. It's a Bruce Lee licensed game. And to have that, it's just really, it's really a downer. This is the only Kickstarter I've backed where I did not get my full, all my full benefits of the Kickstarter, and I feel bad for the guys in Europe because they didn't get anything at all. And then this game actually went on sale. You could buy this game even off Amazon.com for $15 now, which is really a joke. So now, gameplay-wise, for me, I like martial arts, so I liked the miniatures. The miniatures are great. A lot of the components are great. I did have to laminate the boards themselves because I thought they were kind of light. But so I laminated them myself to make it more last longer, and then sleeve the cards. But this game, it's a little lackluster, especially through the stories. You know, you go through the stories, and the heroes win a lot of the stories. But then when you get to the boss or the sub boss, and the heroes have a lot of problems with that. So the balancing issues aren't that great. Rolling the blanks on these dice too. You're supposed to be, you know, a kung fu master, and then rolling blanks on the dice are just kind of like, oh, underwhelming. So it's a game, if you are a Bruce Lee fan, you know, it's good to have, you know, to be able to paint a licensed Bruce Lee character and that. But and if you're a martial arts fan, it has a bit of the feel, you know, like, you know, the strike, throw, grapple, the rock paper scissors system and that, and you know. You do feel a little bit, but there are better games out there for a martial arts theme now. Like at this time, when this game came out, there wasn't really much in that area. But now there's games like Street Masters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shadows of the Past that you will get your kung fu feel and in a lot better way. So if I had to rate this game, I'd probably rate it maybe probably a 5.5 to 6 out of 10. But for anyone that's not really a martial arts fan, you're not really going to enjoy this. If you're a martial arts fan and a Bruce Lee fan, you might have a little fun with it. But other than that, yeah, it's a little lackluster. So, yeah, hopefully, I've done a good job of this game. If you have any questions or comments about the game, please let me know. I'll try and answer as best I can. But yes, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, but this is a huge letdown as far as the gameplay and the rest of the Kickstarter is concerned. So, but thank you. Hopefully, I'll do another video soon. Got a lot of goodies coming down the pike. So keep tuned, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.